Everyone, I'm Phil Abitabel, and I'm chairman of the Safety Tree Committee, and I'm also a member of the Sean's Run Committee. And we're here again. This is the 6th year. The first year was 2010, and now it's 2015, so this is the 6th year we've been here. We have 13 lights lit, red lights lit, over the past 6 years. And unfortunately today, we are going to light another 7 lights, 2 from Columbia County and 5 from Greene County. I'd like to start today a little bit differently, and it's something that I usually do when I do something like this, and I haven't done it for here. I'd like to start the Pledge of Allegiance. Judge Coe, would you lead us to the Pledge of Allegiance?
Sure. The flag is over there. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And a moment of silence. Thank you. We're here again for this important and somber event, and we're going to be changing lights on the safety tree. Jeff, I remember right now, if you have a cell phone, please put it on vibrate. Last year in the middle of one of the main speakers, and his phone went out. Thank you, and I know we have some very important people here. In 2010, actually 2011 was the first year we had the safety tree. In 2010, at the Sean's Run, I noticed this sign, this poster, at the RID USA, Doris Aiken's booth. And I asked her what it was, and she explained it was a safety tree. And I said, what is that? And she says, well, what we do in Schenectady, we went to the hospital, or the Ellis Hospital, and we asked if we could have a little plot, and they planted a tree, a spruce tree, and they lit it with white lights. And when a person is killed in Schenectady County by a drinking or drug driver, they change the white light to red. So from right there immediately, I spoke to Jeff and Mark French, I spoke to Beth, and someone else was there, and we said, let's do it here. And our next step was going to the hospital. And the hospital was more than willing to help us, and that's where we are now. We had 6 sponsors, and Doris Aiken, because they started it, I always give her credit because it's her idea. And Sean's Run with Jeff and Mark French, and the hospital today we have Bill Van Slyke and Kristen Clark Blyfield. No.
Close.
Kristen Clark. Okay, Kristen Clark. And Bill is the Vice President of Marketing and External Affairs, and Kristen is in the marketing and the Jack of all trades department. Twin County Recovery Services, Beth Schuster. And Stop Data Ride Coordinator, Reggie Crowley. And the last one was the driving school, my driving school, the kind of driving school. So what we do at this event is I will ask people to speak. And I'll start right now with Beth.
It's a real privilege to be here and remember people who have been killed by drinking or drug drivers. I can't even imagine what it's like to lose a relative that way. I have been fortunate enough not to have experienced that. And first of all, my complete compassion and condolences to those of you who have lost someone. One of the things I did want to mention was that we run the drinking driver program in Columbia and Greene County, and Twin County Recovery Services, which provides treatment for people with alcohol problems. And one of the most impactful things for me is that we work with people so this doesn't happen again if they end up with us. There's a high rate of recidivism for drinking and driving, and we're trying to do whatever we can to make sure that that is curbed. So again, thank you for letting me speak. I know you have a lot of people, but it's my privilege to participate.
Thank you, Beth. Thank you for helping. And Reggie Crowley, the Stop Data Ride Coordinator. And these are the sponsors.
Make a mistake.
Surprise, surprise.
Oops. Good evening.
I got to give a little credit. We've made some changes to stop DWI. We started to put more emphasis on our young people. Thanks to Sheriff Bartlett, we've used the resource officers, we've gotten speakers into the school. The whole idea is to prevent these things. We don't want to be back here again. Beth Schuster's been great with Twin County, D.A. Chaika, and the county judges have all been fantastic. Hopefully we can work me out of a job, and that's our goal.
Thank you, Reggie. And Jeff French with Sean's Run.
Thank you, Phil. First of all, Phil, I would like to, on behalf of the Sean's Run Committee, thank you for your personal touch to this safety tree for the last 6 years. You have done a tremendous job for our committee. Our committee, I call them family because they're a family of 20-plus members in our community, Chatham, and who have come together and kept the Sean's Run moving forward every year. It has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. And again, unfortunately, we have to be here this evening to do this red lights. But I'm sure Phil will explain to you that this is for 2013 and how that all comes about later on in the program. To the Kelly family, our condolences again. To the friends of Kelly family. Some of these athletes I know personally because I'm a umpire, basketball referee, soccer referee, and I see these young players from Germantown probably 5 times a year in different sports on the fields and on the courts. And I do remember Max playing basketball. And I did have to call a couple fouls on him, unfortunately. And of course, he never fouled. Again, thank you, Phil, and thank you, everyone, for coming tonight for this special ceremony.
Thanks, Jeff. And that's the sponsors. From there, we said, well, we need a tree. So we went to calendars, and we talked to Donna Lamphere, and we have a tree, which is over near the emergency room entrance. And we needed a stone, so we went to Paul Colarusso and Gary Graziano, and they got us a stone. And then we needed a plaque to put on the stone, so we went to the Cantelli family, and we have a plaque to put on the stone. And then we needed lights for the tree, and David and Carol Gould did that for us. So that's where we are now, okay? And that's what we have. Jeff said something about 2013. The most recent statistics that we use, that we have and that we use, are always 2 years old. So we're using 2013 in 2015. Next year we'll use 2014 for 2016. And I'll tell you now, unfortunately, I know of at least one death in Columbia County in 2014. So I know that we will be here again at least for one person in Columbia County. And I don't know about Greene County. Okay? This is for 2014, so we're going to be here again next year. And I don't know of any, hopefully I don't know of any in 2015, okay, which would mean we'd be here in 2017. So this has become a pretty important event. And if you look around, you'll see some of the people here, and I'll introduce some of them, and the importance that the community sees in this event and the lighting of this tree. We have Columbia County Judge, the Honorable Richard Koenig.
I don't think I'm going to need this. If anybody can't hear me, I'll use it. But first of all, let's talk about Sean's race for a minute. This is the 14th year that it's gone on. Has anybody else run in it beside myself? There's one. Has anybody run in it more than 10 times, like myself?
No. Does the mile count? Does walking with your grandson count? Does walking with your grandson in the mile walk count?
We'll do it to you this year, Phil. It's a warm-up for next year. Most importantly, I again invite everybody else to join me on the last Sunday in April up in Chatham. It's a great day. You see people, you meet people, you maybe even by mistake get some exercise. Whether you walk it, whether you run it, I'll be there. The only thing I can say about the French family is that every year that they plan this race, they must make the course longer because my times are getting slower. There have been two important things. First of all, Judge Nichols, who will be standing up here with me, can't be here today. He had a prior commitment, but I know that what I say would stand for both of us. There are two things that have happened in the court system that I think are important for you folks to know as they relate to driving while intoxicated prosecutions. One is through the able administration of Reg Crowley. He forgot to tell you that we've reinstituted victim impact panels and made them virtually universal, not only at the local court level, but at the county court level, for anybody convicted of an alcohol-related offense. So they will be mandated as a condition of any sentence to pay for and attend a victim impact panel. And the second thing is that Judge Lippman, the Chief Justice of the New York State Court of Appeals, required that there be specialized DWI parts for all courts. And so both Judge Nichols and I have gone through special training, and that we will be alternating year by year. I have it this year. All new DWIs at the county court level are coming to my calendar. I can monitor them, I can keep them, I can make sure that there's consistent development of the cases. Next year will be Judge Nichols, so he said he has the training and clearly the experience. And I think that that's a better system to be able to deal with this problem that hopefully we can eradicate. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. We have the Columbia County DA, Paul Shaika.
Hi, folks. I would like to thank Judge Nichols and Judge Koch for a new program that we began a couple of years ago, and that is that those DWIs that are not resolved in local court, regardless of the level at which they're charged, we take them directly to county court. As such, Judge Nichols and Judge Koch, one of whom has the drug court that Beth works very closely with, can monitor very, very closely those defendants from the beginning right through the end. And Judges Koch and Nichols don't have to do that because those cases can theoretically be resolved in local court, but they are increasing their calendars substantially so as to monitor those cases on a full-time basis. So I'd like to thank them both for that. Kellys are here, folks, who lost Big Brother, Sawyer's big brother, and Mr. and Mrs. Kelly's son and Mrs. Kelly's grandson. I have a personal connection, folks, with the Kelly family, which I didn't even know about or realize until my classmate from kindergarten, Nick Haddad, reminded me. John Kelly, Max's father, was my best friend in kindergarten. He's moved up here to Germantown and suffered this terrible, terrible thing that can be, I can imagine nothing worse for a parent. And they're here today with the good works of Phil and the French family, and I hope, and we hope, that this will provide a little tiny, tiny bit of comfort for you folks.
Thank you. And we have Greene County DA, Joe Stancione.
Thank you. I just have a couple of words. First, I'm grateful to be a part of this ceremony. I think it's important to remember all those who have suffered or who have died as a result of a DWI. It reminds us of how precious life really is, and it reminds us of how quickly a life can be taken. It also reminds us that we can do something to prevent these needless deaths, like call a taxi, have a designated driver. Just don't drink and drive. It's a simple message. Last year, our Greene County Sheriff, Greg Seeley, lost his nephew due to a DWI. So these DWI accidents, the horrors of them, they hit all walks of life. And my thoughts and prayers are with all those families that have suffered as a result of a DWI. Thank you.
Thank you. And from the City of Hudson, we have Police Commissioner Gary Graziano, we have Chief of Police Edward Moore, and we have the Mayor, Mayor, I'm sorry, you should have been first. Mayor Bill Holmbeck and Edward.
Sure. Just a quick note, I'd like a lot of speakers, but I'd like to say is that, you know, it wasn't that long ago that I was a brand new police officer, and things like smoking a cigar in a restaurant was accepted, and throwing litter out the window was accepted, riding on your father's lap in the Buick while he drove the car was accepted, and unfortunately driving while intoxicated was tolerated. So over these last 30-some years, that norm, that paradigm has shifted. So the things that we're talking about, the efforts that we're doing, aren't just speeches to ourselves. We're changing the norm, we're changing the paradigm. DWI is serious, and we're making an effect, and we're having a positive change in our community. Every one of these lights, every one of these injuries and arrests and deaths is a brick in that wall that will stop this cold on this drinking and driving on the road. The only other thing I have to add is the Commissioner's support, Commissioner Graziano, the Mayor. The City of Hudson was able to send one of our officers to Arizona for specialized training for drug recognition. In some communities, there's twice as many drug drivers as there are Trump drivers. So we have an expert within our department. There's only 2 within a 50-mile radius, so that we can start to crack down on the drug driver who is equally as dangerous. So thank you for all your efforts. Let's keep it going. Let's keep the momentum going. There is going to be a day when this won't ever happen again. So thank you.
Thank you. He mentioned how times have changed. A classmate of mine heard about this, and I asked her to come in for the past couple of years, but she just couldn't come. But she sent us a donation because in 1971, her sister, Marianne Karapi, was killed. And she knows, she has her feelings on it, and she sent us a donation, so you can just assume what she's saying. We have, Beth. Holly Tanner? Columbia County Clerk.
Yes, I don't think I need the microphone either. Thank you, Phil, so much for your efforts on this and for inviting me here today to speak. It is a somber day. As Commissioner of Motor Vehicles, you know, I see drivers come in and out of my office every day, both new drivers, whom we remind that driving in New York State is not a right, it's a privilege, and it's one that needs to be taken seriously. And also we do see people who perhaps have been arrested by law enforcement, the good law enforcement in Columbia County, and made their way through the court system and are good judges and through probation, and they've paid their debt to society, and they come back to see what they can do to obtain their driving privileges again. And you may be aware that in New York State, the laws on drunk driving have become much tougher. It's not as easy anymore, and nor should it be easy to, especially for repeat offenders, to get their driving privileges back. So we certainly, and I do personally, remind people that, you know, that last drink you take and then the decision that you make to get behind the wheel impacts more than you. It can impact families, so my sympathies go to you. So you need to be reminded of that. And what a great reminder, you know, the symbolism of the green, evergreen, everlasting life, you know, is wonderful. And I do like the color red, but I don't like seeing it on that tree. I like the white lights. So, you know, this is, again, a somber day. My thoughts are with the families who've lost victims. And thank you again for the invitation to be here.
Thank you, Holly. And representing the Columbia County Sheriff's Department, John Davey. John, would you like to say a few words?
Sure. On behalf of Sheriff Bartlett, thanks for the invitation, and we offer our condolences to the families. We've been working tirelessly with Reggie Crowley, Stop DWI. We've come up with some funding for some extra DWI patrols. And we're working with the courts, working with the district attorney's office, hopefully to try to put an end to the drinking and driving. And so we offer our condolences and thanks for the invitation.
We have a supervisor again, Mike Benvenuto. Mike, would you like to say a few words?
I just thank you for the invite, Bill.
We have from the president of the Columbia County Abate, Tony Diesso.
I don't need to say anything, just thank you for the invite.
Excellent. We have the Greenport Town Judge, Fran Abbott. I'll do the speaking. And we have, and we have editor of the Chatham Courier, Carrie Allen.
I just wanted to say that obviously we come from a different perspective when we hear these stories, and we are told not to be biased, but every one of these stories hits us hard in the newsroom as well. And it's our privilege to write the stories of these wonderful people. And we've been longtime sponsors of the Sean's Run Weekend, thanks to our former publisher, Roger Coleman, and our current publisher, Mark Vinciguerra, who couldn't be here today, has continued to champion the sponsorship as media sponsors. And some of us have gotten really close with the French family. We've been privileged to write their stories, and I am participating in my 6th run this year, so thank you.
And we have Mark and Kathy French. And our next speakers, I asked a friend of mine if she would introduce the next speaker. Joan Coey.
I don't think I need that either. Can you all hear me? Sure. Thank you for including me today. I have known Jody and John since Jody was pregnant with Max. We had a store in Hudson that sold baby furniture, and Jody walked in this door with John, and we just clicked, and we just became friends. And every time they came in together, it wasn't like a 15-minute. It was a long session every time. So we watched our kids grow up together, and Sawyer came along, their daughter, and I got to know them really well, and we compared baseball notes and basketball notes, and it was just, I don't know, it was great. And then Max got a scholarship to go away, and we weren't the same kind of couple, though. You know, my parents were more mainstream, if you knew my parents, and Jody and John, if you knew them at all, kind of beat to their own drum, and they let their kids beat to their own drum. And if you knew anything about Max, tie-dye should tell you why. Okay? And you guys can tell us better. But they let their kids be who they really were, and you can't say much more than that. And they were so involved in their kids' lives, and they're generous. Generous is the word I use to describe the Kellys, the Wishy Kellys. Jody was kind of like the hippie, kept her own name. I did too, but I wasn't like quite as hippie as Jody. Maybe wanted to be, but wasn't. And they brought up beautiful children. One thing I want you all to understand how beautiful they were, a couple things. Max was the guy in the dugout that when things didn't go right in baseball, he pulled everybody together. And that was the one thing his coach told me the year when Max wasn't there. He never understood how clearly that was Max's job and how much that team needed that and didn't have it when Max was gone. Am I right, boys? Yeah. And that was because of how they brought him up. Jody taught me the term new normal. I'll never forget when she said that to me. And these aren't people that blame people. These are people that believe in education. And these are people that believe in giving people chances and learning by things and learning by situations. And I don't think you could ask for more pure human beings than that. And boy, have they taught me a tremendous amount. And we are so fortunate to have them to teach us all the things that they've taught us and their strength. And I'm so proud that they're my friends. And I'm so proud to be standing to introduce you. And I'm so sorry for the reason, but you've enriched my lives and so many other people's here. And that's who the Kellys and Wishies are.